photograph. Before even we get home, they will call me, bro, can you send me the photo? There are people. They will ask their photo before even we reach home. So if they ask me, what I do is I just do like auto editing and send it to them. I don't waste my time. If it is anything free, or like sometimes I work in events, so they will ask me photographs for press release and social media posting. I will not waste my time. I'll quickly auto edit and send it to them faster. So here, if you see this edit, it's a very decent editing it's done with AI.
But it didn't expand the areas, right?
Yeah, that is a separate thing I'm going to explain. So you see, with few clicks, we are done. Okay, at the early stage, you can try using auto, but don't get addicted to this thing because you will lose your imagination. You are letting something to work and you don't know what is happening around. So when you do that, you see, when you put auto, you see these levels and stuff here. Okay, I'm going to just keep a few things open. You see, automatically everything is getting adjusted.
But we can do the auto, and after that we can adjust if we want to play with it, right?
Yes, you can do this. You see. You can do this. Okay. But again, for anything that you want fast space, you can do it. But if you want something good and original, that needs manual and time to do those things. Okay. So let's go into this now. I'm going to go back again. Okay. Now let's try to understand one by one. Okay. If you try to put this thing in black and white, it will automatically edit it to black, change it to black and white photos. So when you come here, the first issue was the horizontal vertical levels were not straight, so we have fixed that. And now what we're going to do is we're trying to edit the photograph. Here inside light, there's something called exposure and contrast, which I want to keep it for later. Exposure means brightness. Contrast means, you see, if you don't know what is it, it determines the contrast between light and the darker part, darker colors. So what I'm going to do is first we need to highlight few things here. In this, there's a problem. The light is too much in some areas. You see here, in this part of the building, the light is very high. In some areas, it's too dark. So what is highlights? Let's figure out what is highlights. Highlights means it controls the brightness of lighter part of the photo. Wherever that you see light, okay, that is what highlights are actually. See, if I try to reduce it, now the light is getting controlled. So what it is saying is, when you try to move left side for a negative value, it darkens the highlight and recover details. So what is happening here? Example, the original image, if you see this one, the Ashkal is not clear, the logo. But when I try to go reduce the highlights, now at least you are able to see something there. You see that? So it's recovering the details. Earlier it was too brighter, and now it's recovering the details. So I'm going to go something like this. Okay, the next thing is shadows. Shadows determines the darker part of the photograph, wherever you see darkness. So this is already too dark. That's what the images in histogram is showing too bright. Now you see when I move the shadows to high, it's automatically moving. See? Now it's no longer much shadowy, it's now moving. Now we are moving to make the photograph. It's a pure photo editing tool. Okay? Photoshop is not a editing, it's not just a photo editing tool, even though it says Photoshop. It's a graphical tool, okay, which works on pixel basis. What is pixel? So when you try to zoom it in, you will see these boxes, you see? These small boxes that you see in the screen, like check boxes. These are pixels basically, millions of pixels, boxes that put into one, that's what creates an image here, okay? So when you come here, you work with these tools, and there's something called layers as well. Okay, like example, if you want to build, let's say, a nice, let's say, icing cake or wedding cake, you create a vanilla cake layer, and then you put sugar syrup, then whipping cream, and then you put the toppings you want, and you build upon that, and then you make the final product. Likewise, if you want to do something here, what we do is we also create layers. You see, we do like example, if I want to put some text here saying hello, now this becomes a layer here. You see, new layer. You can hide it, you can do things. Okay. So if you without making new layers, if you try to do something here, for example, let's say I'm going to say hello. If I try to do this, now it is attached to the background. You can't do anything. If you want to scale it up or erase it or do anything, you can go undo and do this. But after sometimes you won't be able to, like when you pass, when you do some kind of an action, and when you pass about 20 or 40 actions, later on you can't come back again. If you want to hide or do anything, it's hard. See, if I try to make a new layer, separate layer and do things, see, I can move around wherever I want. See, I take the move tool, I can move it, I can scale it. Okay, I can do whatever I want with this. So it works with layers. So if you learn this, it's very easy. Okay, now let's move on to start editing. Okay, now to edit this photo in Photoshop, first you need to go to, just make a note, you need to go to filter. Inside filter, you are going to find something called camera raw filter. Okay. Okay, when you open that, you will be brought into a panel like this, which is the exact Lightroom inside Photoshop. Okay, in Lightroom is a standalone software. In Photoshop, we call this as what we call it, camera raw filter. Okay, if you use this, you can do a lot of interesting stuff with this, and it gives you more advanced control as well. Okay, now let's start editing this photo. So first, to edit this photo, if you guys feel sleepy or something, you can just go wash your face or take water and go. You want to take a break? Are you good? All good? Yeah, okay. When you go here, what you saw in Photoshop, all the options are here. Okay, but here it's slightly organized than Lightroom. See, Lightroom is here. You have something called basics. Inside basics, you will find exposure, contrast, highlight, shadows, and everything. The same thing is here as well. Inside light, exposure, contrast, highlights, and everything is there. What they have done is they have organized them into separate areas. Now inside basics, you will find this also. You see, example, you will find the temperature, in colors, vibrance, and everything is there. But here they have put vibrance and saturation, all these things into colors. So they have organized very well, and it's easy to work here as well. So first thing, how do you edit a photograph? The first most important criteria is you select the right photograph that you want to edit. Okay, to do that, you zoom the photograph. Okay, zoom the photograph and see if it is sharp enough. Yes, this is a sharp photograph. But I have taken a slight hard photo here to show what the power of editing. Okay, how we can shape, because this overall, if you take this photograph has got some issues. If you see, the photograph is not straight first. It's like kind of tilting here. And the other thing is the exposure is not correct. It's too shadow, like it's too dark, and the shadows are high in this photograph, whereas the highlights and the exposure is not even meeting, it's at 0. So this photograph is captured not with the proper settings. That's the reason this photograph is looking dark. And some of the area, the light is too bright. And here you see some harsh lights are going on, which is distracting. So these are the challenges that we have, and we need to start fixing all these things. First thing that I want to do is I want to fix the horizontal vertical level. Whereas the image is slightly tilted, I want to bring it back to straight. To do that, this is my way of doing. You can create your own ways. Okay, you have to go to geometry. Okay, when you go to geometry, you are going to find something called upright. In geometry, there's something called auto, level, okay, vertical, and there's plenty of other options where you can try. What is this? Is basically when you press this auto, it automatically fixes the vertical, horizontal level. See, from this, it brings to this. So now it's fixing the image to look more better in terms of the view. Okay. So you have different options you can look for, and I'm kind of going to go with this option. Okay, now it looks, see, this is before and after. Before the image was slightly tilted, now this looks more better, but its time is slightly stretched. The image was supposed to be something like this, but the building is slightly stretched down. So to fix that, I'm going to go to this aspects minus value and slightly squeeze it in to make it look better. Now what is happening is, what is happening is, your image is getting scaled. You see, this is what has happened. It automatically has fixed the horizontal vertical layers. Now if you see here, what is happening, the buildings, this area is getting too attached to the end of the photograph. For example, if I take a photograph of you without no head space properly, it won't look good, it will be too tight. So you got to always have some kind of head space when you take photograph. So here what I'm going to do is, unless it is a strong, tight portrait, it's better always maintaining a good head space. So here what I want to do is, to get this, I'm going to slightly scale out the image. Okay, when I scale out the image, now there's extra blanks are coming, which I'm doing it with purpose to show you how we can fix this. Okay, now it looks good. I will go later on, I'll show you how to fix these areas. The next thing what I want to do is, once this is done, here you can move. You see, you can move around, move up, down, you can do anything you want. You can rotate the image and you can do manually all these things. There is one thing, when you take photographs, don't crop the photograph. When you crop the photograph, you will start losing the resolution of the photograph. Here there is something called scale. You see, you can scale it. Okay, when you scale it, when you scale it here, you will see, example, I'll go to this picture. So if you see this photograph, it is 2400 by 3975 pixels. That is the size of the photograph. If I try to go and crop this image here, it's already cropped. The actual size is this. You see, when you try to crop this, you are losing the size here. So as a result, you are losing the original quality of the photograph. But at the same time, if you try to go to what you call geometry in Lightroom is called transform in Photoshop. When you try to scale the image, it doesn't lose the quality. You got the point? So don't crop the image, just try to scale it. Even after scaling, if you feel that you want to crop, then if you crop, still you have more details to work around. So that's very important. Okay, so I'll go here. Okay, now this is done. Okay, next thing, when you come here, these are the settings that are being used for this photograph. You have something called edit. Edit means, here in this one you have photo, and this D and W stands for black and white. Okay, the beautiful part of this Photoshop is, if you don't understand anything, just take the mouse cursor on top of a button and it's going to explain what it is. See, auto settings means uses AI, so uses the power of AI to analyze a photo and choose the setting to create a beautiful, pleasing image. So if I hit auto, it automatically edits my photograph. Okay, again, don't get used to these things. Use your own imaginations, ideas and stuff to create photograph. Sometimes, that is there. And now now I'm going to jump into this. There's a lot of things here. This tool is called red eye. Like, sometimes when you take photographs, you will see a red color circle inside the eyeball. So if you happen to have such things, you can remove this. And there's something called masking and stuff. I'll explain them here. Now when you come here, you are going to see a lot of things going on here. There's something called basics, adjustments and so many things. Like, you have so many tabs here. And if you try to open one tab, inside that also you're going to find a lot of things going on. So this is going to be at the early stage, it is going to be a little overwhelming. Okay. So here's where I want to take you all to Photoshop. Okay. Photoshop makes things easy for us. Okay, here, you may know, when I say contrast here, contrast is a regular word that you know. Highlights, shadows also maybe you will know, but you don't know what is blacks and white. Okay, blacks and white, in terms of the words you know what is black and white, but actually the functionality you will not know what it is. So if you go to Photoshop, okay, now what I'll do is I'll go to Photoshop. I'm going to edit a photograph like this. I'm going to drag and drop this inside Photoshop. Okay. Okay. When you drag and drop a photo here, if it is a raw file, let me see if I have the raw file of this photograph. I think I don't. It's still fine. If it is if it is a raw file, it will automatically open in something called Camera Raw Filter. Now, before I go into giving you what is photo, what is all these things that we are talking, I want to give you a quick introduction about Photoshop. Now, when you open a Photoshop is going to look like this. It's the home page. Okay. When you click on this PS button, there's where it will bring you to a dashboard like this. Okay. In Photoshop, if you want to master Photoshop, it's very easy. I learned about around 25 or 23 years back. I started learning. I learned with magazines and stuff. Okay. Back then, even we didn't have much access to internet. From that to today's Photoshop, I would say everything is very simple and easy. You don't have to be a master. If you try to master these tools here, you will learn at least around 55 to 60% of Photoshop. Everything happens with these tools here. Okay, to master this tool, if you go here, it's gonna give you a pop-up which explains what is this tool is about. If you still don't understand it, just go and click on this, the play button, and there's gonna be a video.
The Move tool is an essential part of Photoshop, allowing you to move not only individual layers, but entire groups. This makes it a powerful tool for organizing and arranging your workspace. With the Move tool, you can also rotate, skew, and scale your selections. Just make sure the Show Transform Controls options in the options bar is enabled. Once enabled, you'll see transform handles around the corners of your selection.
So for each and every tool that is here, even inside these tools, when you right click, you will find extra tools. Okay. So if you put some time, okay, don't try to jump directly to spend hours and hours in learning these things. You will never learn. Like daily, like 10-20 minutes, if you put your time, you will be able to master this. It's not hard at all. There's so much tutorials and there are so much of things that resources online you can learn. And still, if you feel that you are not able to learn something, okay, here's the AI part comes in. Go to Google, okay, AI Studio. Look at this. You can access this with your Gmail. It's completely free. Okay, Google AI Studio. When you go here, get started. Okay. Okay, they have changed some things here. Okay, I'll go to the dashboard area.
AI.
Google AI Studio, yes.
Google AI Studio.
Okay, so you got to press on this play area, something called playground, and there is something called real time. Okay, real time, and then click on this, and it will ask you to give access to your screen. Look at this, you are giving acknowledging, and you're giving.
Sorry, what is that? Access to what?
Access to the screen, to your monitor.
Okay.
Now what you do, you have to select the window you want. Okay, I'm going to select Photoshop and hit share. Hi, can you see my screen? Hello, are you able to see my screen? Looks like in viewer. No, it's not in viewer. It's more better than. Okay, you have to first give access to your voice. You have to press this microphone button. Allow this time. Hi, are you able to see my screen?
Yes, I can see your screen. You have an image open in Photoshop.
It recognizes it's very smart, okay? Okay, I am a beginner to Photoshop and will you be able to help me learn Photoshop?
Thank you. How can I help you with your image today?
Okay, I want to learn Photoshop. Will you be able to help me learn Photoshop?
I can definitely help with that. To get started, what specific
Okay, I don't speak much English. Can you help me to do this in Tagalog?
Yeah.
O sige, pwede tayong magtagalog. Anong gusto mong gawin sa larawan na ito?
Do you speak Tamil?
Libre yan bro. Sa Google. Ayos ah. Yeah.
So
Hindi ko masyadong naintindihan yung sinabi mo. Anong
sometimes it lags based on your speed. Okay.
Yeah.
So you ask anything, it will be. So if you still say that's hard, no I can't. So you are living in maybe 90s, not even 19th century, maybe in 18th century. Sorry. So that's the statement I give.
Dinosaur era.
Huh?
Dinosaur era.
Yeah, dinosaur era. So this is what. So it's very easy and it's nothing complicated. Remember Google AI Studio.
Yes.
And it helps you a lot. Anything you want to learn, anything you can go ask, and it's very smart enough to help you. Day by day, it's getting advanced. Okay. So now let's move on to editing this photo.